All right, so I'm here with Dale Boyles, and Dad, you are how old now?
I am 90
So where were you born?
in East Texas, near Grand Saline, close to Tyler. My mother came in a covered wagon. She was raised in the country on the farm. Of course, she liked to cook, and she was
Yeah,
an excellent cook. Well, I was born in 28. I lived in the part of the Great Depression. My dad was a sharecropper,
yeah.
and so we didn't have uh, ordinary things that most kids did. In the summer, I was helping my dad on the farm. Oh, we grew peanuts and we grew potatoes and we grew corn and cotton. In the summertime, I guess my favorite memory was going swimming. And then when we finished with the crop, my dad and I would go fishing, and that was a good thing. Lane was kind of easy, go lucky, uh, but uh, but he could get things done. He bought our first radio, and I used to listen to that and come home from school. And when I when opportunities presented, when I didn't have to work out on the farm, I would listen to Jack Armstrong, the All American Boy. James was very congenial, and Paul was somewhat mentally retarded, and but easygoing. He loved everybody. Of course, later, I enjoyed playing baseball, and I liked volleyball a lot. In high school, I played on the volleyball team. Well, I was out almost 2 years, and the more I was out, the more I realized how important it was to go to school. Of course, I learned to work, and so I was busy working most of the time. But me and a couple of friends went out, friends from Dallas, and we went out and joined the Texas Air National Guard. We were in about almost a year, and so we were called up for active duty in the Air Force, and
Mm.
so we were sent to Langley Air Force Base in Virginia,
Mm.
and our pilots had been flying P-51s, and they changed to jets, F-84Es, and so we went to Langley, Virginia, and I worked in base operations. Right next door to the operations office, there was a machine shop that worked on jet engines, and so there was noise all the time. Consequently, I have a hearing aid or hearing problem. In June 1951, we went to Japan, and we were there for almost a year, and then we were sent to Korea. Uh, Single engine airplane from the North Korea would make its way down through the mountains and dump dynamite out on our airstrip. And our barracks was next adjacent to the airstrip, so that was kind of tricky sometimes. In Japan, I was a Christian, and I was able to do a lot of Christian work. It was obvious that I needed training, and if I was going to do Christian work, and I planned to do that. So I went to Bible college first. 3 years, I graduated.
Oh.
Then I went to Wheaton College in Illinois. It was a marvelous experience. It is an excellent college. After I graduated from Wheaton, I worked in a boys' club. We lived in the woods by a lake down in Hawkins, Texas. So we lived out in the woods in a tent for a year with the kids. I made up my mind that I'd do what I could to get back to Japan as a missionary. And then I started raising funds to go to Japan. Went to Japan on a ship called the Hikawa Maru. It was a Japanese passenger ship. I was director of a camp, Yumori Bible Camp up in the mountains in Nagano-ken. On the weekends, when we didn't have a camp, I would teach a university group in Nagoya. I went up to talk to the pastor. He had an office upstairs, and so when I came down I was going to teach a university class. As I was coming down the stairs, here was a American girl with two Japanese girls. I said, I'd better meet that girl. So I went up to her and to the two other girls, and I said, I'm Dale Boyles. Who are you? And she said, I'm in Bartram. I went to visit her in Tokyo. She cooked the dinner for me, and then I saw her a couple other times, and then we had another camp, and she came. But then I had gotten interested, and I didn't know how she felt at all. No idea. After the camp was over, we went out. The camp is sitting it's up in the mountains, and it's on the river. So we walked out overlooking the river, and I asked her to marry me. And she says, well, I don't know you.
Okay.
And she said, well, I don't know. I told her, I don't know a better way to get to know you. So anyway, and then I started going to Tokyo more frequently, and as frequently as I could. And so we ended up getting married in a church in Tokyo. And we had a English-Japanese wedding, and an English speaker and a Japanese speaker.
Well, so that gets you to about 40 years old, and so that gives us another 50 years. So I'm going to now be a little more general.
Okay, that's fine.
And so what are some of your proudest moments or proudest accomplishments in
Getting
your life?
through Wheaton for one thing. And then I went to East Texas and got a master's. I appreciate very much my missionary work, and then we started the camp. Oh, that was wonderful times, but it was hard work, but it was rewarding work, you know. While we were going at the camp, I was principal of the school in Minneota. I went to an educator seminar up in Winona Lake, Indiana. And the last day we were there, I met this guy from Africa, from Liberia. And so I finally agreed that I'd go over and check out what he wanted to start a center out in the bush. The people from the church that he was going to met me at the airport, and we went from the capital city of Monrovia down to Buchanan. The deacon at that church had a Toyota, and he took me out in the bush where this center was proposed. So we drove about 60 miles down a dirt road, and then we walked 9 miles down a dirt trail through the jungle to this village. So we had 54 churches, and we had built a 2-story building for a Bible school. We'd go over every summer and have a seminar for pastors. Well, I think the biggest lesson is that, to me, that God is faithful. Believe in the Lord and serve Him, and He will bless you and see you through.
What is your favorite book?
Book? The Bible.
And what is your favorite song?
Great is thy faithfulness.
And what is your favorite scripture?
Well, it has to be John 3:16, I guess.
Okay.
神はこの人を賜ったほどにこの世を愛してくださった。それは御子を信じる者が一人も滅びないで永遠の命を得るためである。John 3:16.
Perfect.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've no less days to sing God's grace than when we'd first begun.